This is your girl Sunshine here, back at you with a Diddy update, okay, about the trial. So I didn't do a video for yesterday's trial, so I'm gonna add that into today's trial. So today's trial, on for Diddy's trial, he they had Jane Doe is still on the stand. So she is definitely a major witness here. If you thought Capricorn Clark's testimony was, very important, or Cassie's testimony was very important, I feel like Jane Doe's testimony is like right behind Cassie's. Her testimony has pretty much been just like I don't know why it seems like she kind of mimics Cassie a little bit. I don't know. These girls did claim that they were a little bit jealous of each other. What's up, Chris? But in Jane Doe, I see a lot of Cassie's like testimony included in there. So I'm not sure what's really, going on here. But Jane Doe does sound very believable in her statement. Now, Jane Doe has been on trial since last Friday. Did she get out there Thursday? No, I believe it was Friday. So Friday and Monday, the government, the U.S. Attorney, questioned Jane Doe, and then today was the first day for the defense to cross-examine Jane Doe. So it's been real busy. So let's get into it. Make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel here for all the celebrity gossip, okay, and tea. And also give me a thumbs up. Yeah, so yesterday was day 19 for Diddy's trial. The government called Jane Doe. They asked, "What is this a picture of?" She says, that's Diddy's deputy butler. "Who did you call ATL?" She says, the entertainer, Sly. She says they hired him and he came in from ATL. The government played an exhibit. So I guess like a video or a recording or something. "This is a true open relationship. Why do you have to make it a problem? Now I'm sick," Diddy said. So I guess this is something, either a voicemail or a text message. What's up, JJ? That Diddy sent to Jane Doe. How did you reply? The government asked. She said she FaceTimed him. He said all the things to calm her down. And the government asked, you wrote, "I don't want to feel obligated to you and you may stop playing because you may stop paying my rent." So of course, y'all, let's get into it. So Diddy is paying Jane Doe's rent still to this day. He's paying her, and not only is he paying Jane Doe's rent to this day, he's also paying for her attorney, and she's going against Diddy. How crazy is that? Did y'all even know that? Yeah, can y'all get those thumbs up and the likes up? I really appreciate it. Yes. Yes, it is, JJ. Oh my goodness. Okay. So let's see here. So Jane Doe is pretty much saying that she texts to Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy Combs. She's saying that, she doesn't want to do the freak offs anymore, where they call them hotel nights. So Cassie called them freak offs, but Jane Doe and Diddy, he changed it up when he got with her. So he called them hotel nights. Yeah, Apex edit Sean. Yeah, Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs. Because his name is Sean Combs. Right. What's up, Starboy? Oh, well, I hope everyone goes to heaven. Um, let's see here. Hold on, you guys. What's up, Samid? All right. So, on a trip to New York, Jane was told by Diddy that he was taking her to dinner. So here she goes thinking he's taking her to dinner, right? So she was all excited. She sent him a text message saying she wanted his hard, you know what, the D word. Then he asks where was Sly. So she thought they were going to dinner because he asked her to go to dinner, and then she tried to flirt with him. So just like a pre foreplay or whatever. And he asks her where the other man at. Okay, he asks her where the entertainer is. He says, "Where's Sly?" He texts entertainment night or movie night. She knew exactly what he had a surprise for her to do. It was a new guy. She didn't like him. So when she got to dinner, they had dinner, they went back to the hotel. She thought it was going to be Sly. It ended up being a new entertainer, y'all. So Diddy was definitely paying money for men. I mean, like, so much money. If you think about it, they were having freak offs like 5 days a week, right? 5 days out the week or more. Okay, because they said, I think Cassie said one time it went on for like 8 days, 6 or 8 days or something like that. So Diddy's paying for these men every night. Okay. So he's paying two, three, $4,000 and more for these men to just have intercourse with these women. And these two women, Cassie and Jane Doe, which I believe is 50 Cent baby mama, but we're not gonna get into that because they don't want us to know who she is. Okay, so we're gonna act like we don't know who she is. But anyway, I he could be spending money with these men by himself and probably be saving money. Like if he would have went on dating sites for gay men, like wouldn't he have saved a lot of money? I don't know. I'm just saying he's spending a lot of money. Then on top of that, he's paying for the woman's house. He done upgraded the whole woman who he's using to have the intercourse with the guys at first, and then he comes in at the end. It's just, child, I can't even imagine. Oh my goodness. So let's see here. So she went to the hotel. She thought it would be Sly, but it ended up being a new guy. She told Diddy she didn't like the guy. But she said she felt defeated. They asked, "What did Diddy send to you?" She says a picture of a man's D or P. So Diddy sent her a picture of a man's private part. But he's not gay? Okay. All right. Let's get back to it. Let's see here. She said she rolled her eyes. I text it's not loading. She act like so she pretended that it wasn't loading. What happened that night? He was late and he was irate and defensive. We bickered. She called Sly and asked if he could come to the Trump Tower. Now, Sly lived in Atlanta. They were in New York. So, you see what I'm saying here? Not only this is where the racketing is coming in because Sly lives in Atlanta. So, P. Diddy was paying, this was like a spur of the moment thing. He wanted him there right now. So, P. Diddy told her to call Sly. She called Sly. He came from Atlanta, so she had to book his hotel flight. Then he, pay for a driver to pick him up, bring him to the hotel, have the entertainment, and then send him home with pay. So, and then send him back home with pay. Okay. So Diddy is spending a lot of money. And y'all, he was doing this with a lot of different guys. So when you think about the Raffican and you say, oh, is it really Raffican? Yeah. Okay. He was paying for these men to come to um, LA, Miami, New York, like paying for people to go everywhere, even like to London, out the country, because I believe Sly went with them to London, or was it Paris? I can't remember, one of them. But yeah, just a lot. So Diddy sent her a picture of another man's private part, and Jane Doe act like she didn't get it. She said it's loading. She said they got into an argument. He told her to call Sly. She said Sly came from Atlanta to New York. Then she went back to LA. The government asked, "Did you ever speak to Diddy? Diddy's other women?" She says, "No, I saw one on Instagram." Um, she said she saw Cassie on Instagram with him. Let's see here. Oh, so she sent Diddy a text message one time. Jane Doe did, saying, "You got that girl next to you, and she's already starting stuff. Introduce her to P." So this is a text message that Jane Doe sent Diddy, and I believe she was texting about Young Miami, because remember Jane Doe started messing with Diddy from 2021 to 2024. So she was still messing with him up until August 2024. So that would have been around that time he was messing with Young Miami. The government asks, "Who is Paul?" She says, "The entertainer." So that's who she was referencing. She says, "I'm not a P star." This is all what Jane Doe has text Diddy. October 16th, 2023, she said, "These experiences are desensitizing sex for me. That's a lot of activity to push you to that point." She wrote, "I don't want to be effed in rooms." She says she felt more pressure was on her than the other women that Diddy was messing with. That's real crazy to say right there. Like, she was the main chick, right? So she was expected. She was the Cassie since Cassie was gone, and everybody else were the fill-ins. Whew. So Diddy was doing this a lot, y'all, like on a full-time basis. When he wasn't doing it with Jane Doe, he was doing it with other women. Um, she said it's been 3 years of her having to F strangers. She texted Diddy. He wrote, "So we breaking up?" She wrote, "I need a break spiritually. Sex should be sacred to me. You always push me to do more." Um, then they took a sidebar. So Diddy has been um, wearing real basic clothing in the courtroom, right? And I say this for a reason, because he's coming in looking very humble. So if you hear about these conversations and activity that Diddy's been doing with the other people, including like the witnesses on the stand, you would think of this cocky guy, this larger than life type guy who dresses well, have a lot of money to throw around because he's spending money like crazy, right? But he's in the courtroom and he's dressed with like a white button down on, some khaki pants, real basic attire. So they don't have him in there like real flashy with a suit with a blazer on or anything. They're making him look very humble. So I felt like they were doing that on purpose. Like, his team know what they're doing, trying to make him look real humble. But again, this was yesterday's testimony. Let's see here. So Jane Doe was saying that she feels like she needs a spiritual break from their relationship, because she obviously thought that they had a relationship. Okay, that's not a relationship. That is a contract. Matter of fact, they had a contract. Diddy came to her with a love contract. See, he didn't ask her straight up would she be his fantasy chick. He should have just did that, and then that way it would have been simpler. But no, he pretended like she was going to be his girlfriend or one of many of his girlfriends, and then just had her freaking her out all the time. And then she was sending text messages like this often. She said that she need a spiritual break. Sex should be sacred. So Diddy has been wearing basic stuff in the courtroom. Let's see here. Um, they want him to look more humble, not flashy. This can throw off the jurors, I wrote here, for thinking he's like an uppity, rich, cocky type of guy. So Diddy texts, I want to spend the day with you. So he texts, here he goes, reeling Jane Doe in again for the setup. Okay. So he used to send text messages like this a lot. So the government is asking about this text message here. He says he wants to spend the day with her. She replied, you made it crystal clear exactly what you want from me. You're going to spend the day love bombing me. This proves to me that she she didn't understand that she was going into this type of relationship. So I'm glad that the government did ask her this question about this text right here, because they brought the text up where she says in the text message to Diddy that it's clear that this is, you don't want a relationship with me. You just want this situationship, this whatever you call that, really. So okay, a lot of people had a lot of questions about that. A lot of people are saying that, oh, she knew what she was doing, but that obviously it didn't come up in a conversation like that. Um, he made her feel like she was going to be treated like a princess, but really he was just paying her to have freak offs and paying for her lifestyle. He volunteered to get her a house. Y'all, he has the house he brought her is 5,300 square foot. And like I said, he's still paying the bills at the house right now to this day. To this day. She said the her house before she moved into the big house that Diddy got her, she said it was 1,400 square foot. So she is living very pretty right now, and she's up here going against him. Like, I'm just saying that's dirty in my opinion. Like, I would at least stop the payments. Like, you're going to testify against him. Why would you? But whatever. Whatever. This was business for Diddy. You could definitely tell. Jane texts him, just got complete. She just completed something. What did you say about the 2 years about the house? Then don't contact me. Oh, okay. So Jane reached out to Diddy. She texts him, just complete the 2 years. And she asked, what about the house? And then she said, just don't contact me. So I guess this showing like they have arguments. She really thought this was a relationship, showing text to try to prove the government's point, right? So the government asks, does this text reference a prior relationship you had? She says, they being real. Oh, I felt like they were being real messy right now. So I wrote that. Jane said, yes. Diddy said, I was told you were crazy. So if he was told she was crazy, why did he get with her? Anyway, he says, she says, who told you? She took it too far. He said, you took it too far, baby girl. You'll see. He was threatening about the rent. So he was saying, you took it too far this time, baby girl. So they're not showing like the complete text message or giving all the information to everyone, only the jurors, about what happened here. But it sounds like they got in the argument. She probably said something referencing her baby daddy, because you see, the government is asking her about her last relationship. And Diddy's like, you took it too far, baby girl. So he threatening her about the rent. Um, Oh, she was saying that he said we don't have to do anything that we don't want to do. So that's how he was threatening her. He was saying we don't have to do anything we don't want to do. It's like implying that if you don't do what I want you to do, then I'm not going to pay that rent. So he was threatening her a lot about paying the rent, because that was the leverage he had over her. Let's see here. Okay, the government asked Jane to stop right there. So I guess she was going into too much detail. They asked, "Who is this?" Referring her prior relationship. She says, yes, she knew who that was. Of course, they can't mention that because she's Jane Doe, right? You wasted time in this toxic relationship. She said she wasted a lot of time in this toxic ass relationship. Did you refer to your previous relationship? She says yes. So they asking her about a lot certain text messages. I guess if they tell us too much, it'll reveal some probably some real crazy stuff that they were arguing about in the text message. So they were just going back asking her, was she referencing her previous relationship? So they Jane Doe and Diddy may have got into an argument talking about 50 Cent, if that's who they're talking about. And it sounds like it got really bad. Um, she said, we started arguing about the entertainers also. Of course, he was going to throw that in, you know. Diddy tried to say that she wanted the men because she picked them out. That's pure manipulation tactics right there. So they're in an argument talking about one thing. Diddy's bringing up something completely different, knowing that if she said she didn't want to have SCX with a man, in front of him, then he'll have a whole fit. But he's now trying to say, oh, you wanted to do this. You picked out the men, because it's text message. So it's a thread of it. So he can have evidence. So, of course, she's like, trying to defend herself. So she's like, that's not exactly what happened there. She said she chose the men because he was bringing in a lot of men that look weird. She says one guy was real sweaty. She said he sweat very bad. And I understand her. Like, I do not like a guy who's super hairy or sweaty. So, you can't just bring anybody to the party. But she said he would just have anybody during the hotel night. So she started picking out the men herself. Whew, child. I wonder if he was taught this type of behavior here. Like, where does he get this from? And then I'm not gonna get into that. I'm gonna wait until that part here. There. Let's see here. So Jane said he would try to make her believe that she wanted to have the hotel nights with the men. Um, but that's manipulation. Um, Jane texts, "You want to gaslight me?" He texts, him and her did not have beef. She texts, "You created all this evilness inside of me." She says, "Whew." See, you got to be careful who you messing with. Okay, she up here. She done said a couple of times that she felt like, what they were doing was like bringing out the evil in her. She needed to find Jesus. You hear about a lot of celebrities being like having a lot of fame and success, so it looks, and then the next thing you know, it seems like they're weird, super weird, or doing something. You never know what they're a part of and how that's bothering their soul. Because it sounds like Cassie and Jane Doe were going through the same type of things here, where the sexual activity they were having is pretty much causing them to feel terrible inside, like almost like devil worshiping, because now they're reaching out for um, God and Jesus. Oh, child. So Jane texts, I regret my life. He says you're burning a bridge that you're going to need tomorrow. She says, I don't trust you. He says, 10 hours ago you loved me. He wrote, it's a free country. I'm an adult. You are an adult. You are writing a whole book about what? He says, Diddy text, we both made promises that we didn't keep. If you don't, and did you get the phone? There's nothing. Oh, okay. He says, if you don't want me to talk, if you don't want to talk to me, there's nothing I could do about that. And the government asking, did you get the phone? So apparently there's some phone, maybe a phone that she had, but Diddy used to take phones. See, this the thing, he would give you things and then take things away from you. So the government did ask a couple of times about her having a certain phone. So I wasn't quite sure what phone they're asking about here, but she says yes, she did get it. She was having PTSD, and she wrote that in her notes app in her iPhone. She wrote a lot of different notes in her notes app because she said she wanted to build up the courage to actually send it to Diddy so he can see it. Oh, child. She wrote, she later got back with him and then started having more nights, more of the hotel nights, then watching more of their videos that they made. She said then Cassie's lawsuit came out and she was horrified. She said she sent a screenshot. She took a screenshot of certain pages from the lawsuit because it was like listening to her own story. The government asks, have you ever met Cassie? She says yes. Remember, she said it before. But she says in 2015 at a fashion show and a celebration for Diddy. Ooh. That was the only time. The government asks, read your messages the day after Cassie's lawsuit. Four in one night, and now I'm going to the doctor. So she sent a text message to Diddy the day after the lawsuit came out and said four in one night and now I'm going to the doctor. So I don't remember if Cassie said that in her lawsuit or if Jane Doe is just saying that to Diddy. Um, hmm. I don't know. The government asks, then the days later, she says, I feel like I'm reading my own actual trauma. God finally showed me you gaslight me. The government said, we're going to play some audio. So Diddy said, I love you. You know what I'm saying, and I'm trying to stop all this madness. Jane said, I don't know. The government asks, did you know you were being recorded? She says no. So after the Cassie lawsuit came out, then Diddy got on the phone with her and recorded her having a conversation with him. I guess so he can show that they were cool or make sure they were cool or whatever, but she didn't know she was being recorded, but the government knows, so that's why they're asking now, but Jane Doe didn't know. Let's see here. She says, no, did you know you were being listening on? She says, no. On the recording, Jane says, who's there for me when I close my eyes and I see all these effed up things in my head? Y'all, with her saying that right there, I can't help but think that okay, so this is how a freak off go if you haven't been following it. Now I know it sounds real disgusting, whatever. It's not my story. I'm just reporting on it, okay? And make sure you guys get those subscribes up, okay? And give me a thumbs up. I really would appreciate it. Um, Yeah, 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 be nice. But anyway, so when she says that when she closed her eyes, she keeps seeing all these traumatic things that's traumatizing her, it makes me feel like, okay, after she has intercourse with the entertainment, then her and Diddy goes into a room because the room is a suite. So they usually have the intercourse in the living room and then go in one of the rooms, like the main room or whatever, right? So afterwards, she would go in the room. Now, Cassie or Jane Doe have not really told us what goes on in the other room. Now, we do know Cassie said, she mentioned a couple of times that she always bring um, X toys to the party, but she never testified about using X toys with the entertainers. So when Jane Doe texts that, I was wondering if maybe she used X toys on Diddy. Now that could be traumatizing. Okay, that could be very traumatizing. Having to peg your man. Now remember, Cassie did testify that, oh my goodness, I'm gonna see if that goes off. But Cassie did testify that when she would have intercourse with the ex workers and they would ejaculate, Diddy would ask for the ejaculation to be rubbed on him. Whew, child. So you see where I'm going with this here? Okay, so Diddy said, I'm trying to be there for you. You know what I'm saying? Jane said she was just effed up. She said, so P. Diddy saying, I'm trying to be there for you. Like, whatever. Like, I'm trying to be here. I don't know what else to do. And Jane Doe is saying that she's just effed up right now in her head. Yeah, let me see what this is. Hold on. Sorry about that, you guys. Okay. All right. So let's see here. Where was I? Okay, so yeah, so Diddy's trying to talk her out of her one of her moments of need. What's up, Dwight? What's going on? I hope you're having an awesome day. So of course I'm going over the Diddy's trial. Okay. Make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel and give me a thumbs up. I'll appreciate it. So yeah, the government asks, were you recording him? She says, absolutely not. But he was recording you. Me. She says, but he was recording me. Um, let's see here. Um, oh, and so Diddy asks her, he says, are you recording me right now? So Diddy called her. He's trying to talk to her about whatever they're going through. This was after Cassie's lawsuit, right? And then she's telling him she's just not feeling right in the head. She keeps seeing stuff when she closes her eyes. You know, she feels like she's having PTSD. And then Diddy's like, okay, so I'm trying to be here for you, whatever, right? And then he asks her, are you recording me? And she didn't know it. She was just saying, "No, I'm not recording you. What are you talking about?" So then they end the conversation. Come to find out, he was recording her. So he is like a true manipulator. But that's crazy. She didn't even realize that the conversation was being recorded, but she was really having a breakdown at the time, so it worked out in her favor. But so Diddy said he can't talk on the phone right now. He says he don't know what's going on. Um, he said you got me that video thing. He says I need your support. She once text, "You paid all those men to X me and risk my health." She texts, "I feel as your lover, I wanted to please you and distress you, and I pushed through and went along with the things, even when deep down I wanted a night to be ours." She said Diddy would encourage her to keep going, to push through. Hold on. Oh, my bad. Diddy would encourage her to push through. So she would be so tired, y'all. She was having intercourse with like two, three, four men, five men, including Diddy sometimes. So, and doing a whole lot of different rugs with the D. So I guess that's probably where the demons come from, using all those rugs and stuff. Um, let's see here. In a text, she referenced a video um, with her and a man and said, "I know I was consenting, like I said on tapes." Diddy said, "If anyone were to watch these tapes, they would have thought you were having the best time and looked like you were consenting." So in the text messages, they're going back and forth about her consenting to these activities. So to me, that's like proof saying that Diddy at least know that the activities that he was doing were illegal. That's helping the government, y'all. That's right there in, pretty much spelling out the trafficking. But let's see here. So in December 2023, Jane had a text exchange with KK, Diddy's chief of staff. Jane told KK that Diddy had just threatened me about the X tapes. She said she was heavily rugged up at the time and doing things he asked her to, and she's currently recovering from it. Jane texts, "All I have been asking for is peace." The government asks, "What did Diddy ask you?" He said he wanted me to sign something so he could have closure. Sound like an NDA. She says she thought he meant so she wouldn't be a threat. Diddy asked Jane about her guy friend Bear, who sent her $9,000. She said he worked for her with her OnlyFans account. Um, Who hired your lawyer? She says, Diddy. Is Diddy still paying for your lawyer? The government asks. She says, yes. Did you talk to Sly after 2014? She says, yes. Um, he called and said he had a tape. So Sly, again, is the guy from Atlanta. After the Cassie lawsuit came out, Sly hit up Jane Doe and told her that he was going to sell this tape he had of her and him, but the tapes didn't include Diddy, so I don't know. But anyway, so he tried it. So he told her that he was going to release, Sly told Jane Doe that he was going to release the video to someone who wanted to buy it, but he'll give it to her for $10,000. So she had to contact Diddy again to let him know somebody's threatening to put out this X tape. So now she's back in contact with him. She told Diddy that Sly tried to extort her. He told her that legal would get on it. Then a media company called her. They said they had the tape and asked if she wanted to leave a comment. But the government asked, "How did you first learn of the Cassie and Diddy video?" Okay, wait a minute. So, um, what was my train of thought going? Oh, okay. So the tape is illegal because depending on what state you're in, you can't like just give out this information here. Like some states is illegal to do. You can be sued and get even jail time. And then not only is it the tape, it's like bribery. What is it? Extortion. It's extortion. That's illegal. So for him to play the tape, because Jane Doe did testify that the tape never did come out. She didn't see it. So I don't know if Diddy team, his legal team, did get on it. Maybe that's what happened with the tape. But it is illegal to just put out, but it could definitely get put out because the company could just pay the person for the tape, put it out. But if Diddy's not on the tape, they're not gonna pay for that. But especially she's no one like big or anything. But anyway, the tape never came out to us, but it could be out in on the black market, which is a whole nother world. The government asks, when did you first learn about the Cassie and Diddy video? She says there was a knock at her door. She went with Diddy to Star Allen. So the tape came out with Cassie and Diddy. Then there was a knock at her door. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't Diddy. She didn't say it was Diddy. She just said there was a knock at her door. Let's see here. And then she said she ended up going to Miami with Diddy and his family so they could figure out what was going to be the strategy behind that tape coming out. So she said she went with Diddy to Two Star Island. Him and his family got into a huddle with him and his sons to come up with a narrative. She said that Diddy first tried to act like it wasn't real. He said we should just act like it's not real. And they were telling him, no, you can't do that. But he was trying to say that at first. She said he showed her a draft of what he was going to say, you know, but she said the original draft stated, how bad and hurt he felt about Cassie. It stated her name. But remember when he did the apology, he didn't say Cassie's name in the video. But she says the original draft did reference Cassie, and Diddy was pretty much telling her how sorry it was. She said it actually sounded believable versus the apology video that he did. That didn't sound believable at all. She says KK came, so I guess KK came to Miami later than she did, and she was asked to go in the other room. So then Jane Doe was asked to go in the other room so KK could talk with Diddy and his family. Then she went back to LA. How did you feel about the apology? She said, I felt it had no heart. The defense asked for a sidebar. She said Diddy raised the topic of money shortly after Cassie's lawsuit. Once Jane Doe had pointed out the similarities between her and Cassie's experiences. During the phone call, Diddy told Jane to charge him for her resentment. So Diddy pretty much came out and was like, just pay me for all the resentment you have towards me. Like, don't file no lawsuit. We ain't got to go through that. Pay me for whatever. And that's so crazy because he was still paying her bills at her home. He started paying for her lawyer fees. So he's paying a whole lot of money each year for this girl, and he's not even talking to her anymore. That's wild. So he called her and told her to just pay me for the resentment. Or just charge me for the resentment. She says she came back up with a number a couple days later, and Diddy immediately shut her down. Um, let's see here. She said she would never sue him anyway. She didn't send him a demand letter. She testified that she had unaliving ideas, sounding just like Cassie, right? She says the end of 2023, she told Diddy she would unalive herself. So, all she's going through is making her feel real rough, okay? You saw him in June 18th, 2024. Where were you? She says, my house in LA, date night, in the house Jonathan came to help set up. What did Jonathan do? She says he put up the candles and the lights. No, I wore um oh, did he put up any lights? She says no. I wore a long brown dress. I opened the patio to see the nice view. No entertainment. We got into an argument. What did you say? I said, you are a pedo. A pedo. Hmm. So then they got into an argument. She says he was 25 years older. So they start getting into an argument about her being in a picture, about Diddy being in a picture with the girl who he was 25 years older than. I feel like that might have been Lori Harvey, because I remember he was like with her family or his family or someone and her at one point in time, but I don't remember what year that was, but it was after Cassie. And if you remember, the rumor was that she was dating the son Justin. I believe it was Justin. And then the next thing you know, it was rumored she was dating Diddy. So I'm not sure. They don't tell who she started arguing about. She must have saw a picture or something. um, um, so, um, so Jane also testified that he said a man spends all his money on you. You say you're tired. So he texts that to her. He threw water on her. She said one time. He called me a B one time. He gave her an X pill. Did Paul go to Miami? She says yes. He came to Two Star Island. She testified she was given a spray bottle with liquid Molly in it, and Diddy was spraying it into her mouth. She said she felt a surge of high octane, actual energy. She ended up greeting Paul soon after Paul came to the house, and she ended up greeting him in that type of energy. And she says they had a hotel night that night. So Jane Doe definitely did testify that there was some liquid substance that was being used. Now, she said she didn't know what the substance was until afterwards, but remember, we were thinking, a lot of people were thinking that the baby oil had some type of substance in it, but Jane Doe did testify against P Diddy that he did have some liquid Molly in a gun, and she didn't know what it was, but she opened her mouth and he sprayed it in her mouth, and they got right on into it. They had a hotel night. The government asks, when was the last time you saw Diddy? She says August 2024 at Star Island. Did you have X with Don in front of Diddy? She says yes. So they're asking her, like I said, the government and the defense, they'll go back and forth asking questions that don't really line up for us, but they're going somewhere when they ask these questions in a certain order. So, I'm pretty sure Don is probably going to come up when during the cross examination. So they're probably just getting a head start on that. Did you get a subpoena? She says yes. Then November 2024. Then you interviewed with the government in 2025. And after that, did you see a therapist? She says yes. for 3 months now. So then today was day 20 of the Diddy trial. The government moved to strike juror 6 before the court even started, y'all. So I don't know what the juror 6 did, but the government was not playing. They was like, before court started, they was like, no, we noticed something and we want to get that juror up out of there. And I heard that the government, that the judge did end up removing the juror, juror number 6, and replace that juror with someone else. But I haven't received any confirmation. But someone who is a reliable source did say that the judge did get rid of juror 6. Now, if you remember, that was last week. Diddy was nodding at the jurors, and the government had to. I'm sorry, the judge had to tell Diddy to knock it off, stop communicating with them, don't do that because it's not a good look, right? And now the government has got rid of one of the jurors, so that's real crazy. But anyway, so the judge said we'll handle that later on today. And like I said, he did. The defense is asking um, Jane Doe questions. Jane testified that when she met Diddy, she wasn't aware of his rug abuse. She said she can tell that he looked like he was on rugs, but she didn't know what he was doing. She says his hands were shaky. So he like an old man. She said his hands was real shaky when she first met him. Not afterwards, y'all. When she met him. Now, Diddy is 55, but he does a whole lot of rugs. Jane also testified that she believed his hair is white like it is because of the rugs with the D that he was on. She said when she first met him, it looked like he had jaundice. Jaundice is like having a yellowish complexion. Usually you hear about babies having jaundice when they're like super light. Um, but they give them like a belly light or something. They call it a belly light or something. But anyway, Jane Doe said that his gums were gray. She also said his hair was graying from the drug use. I already said that. Jane said she felt Diddy was cuckold. Cuckold. Do y'all hear that? Cuckold. Okay, so cuckold is when a man is being can be turned on by watching his wife F a man. Usually that man wants to do it himself, but instead of him doing it, he usually has his wife do it and he lives vicariously through that experience, seeing the experience in front of him. So Jane Doe testified today that she believed Diddy is cuckold. Not that he has voyeurism, but she believes he's cuckold, which makes a lot of sense, y'all, because he spends a lot of money on having these men come, okay, and paying for their plane tickets just to have intercourse with these beautiful women. Like, who's getting the benefit, you know? Let's see here. Um, she said Jane Doe testified that her and Diddy came up with Fit Friday. It was a way to party very hard. Now I remember Diddy in Miami did a Young Miami or Carisha, whichever one you want to call her. But I remember they did like a interview or whatever. I don't know. They went live on like TikTok, TikTok or Instagram. And they were on there talking about shot o'clock Friday. It's Friday, it's shot o'clock Friday or something. And they were on there taking shots. So it sounds like Jane Doe and Diddy also had a Friday celebration that they celebrated every Friday, which I'm sure Diddy came up with. Fit Friday is what it was called, but she said it was a way to party hard. So they knew when Friday came, they were going to be partying the whole weekend. Okay. Going in, partying like a rock star. Okay. Jane Doe testified that when Diddy would do the rugs, he would be very calm, but before he did the rugs, like when he wasn't high, he would be very aggressive and angry. And I believe she was saying that to pretty much say, that Diddy is, his behavior comes from, when he's not doing the rugs. But and then Jane Doe was saying today that Diddy was doing a lot of like physical stuff towards her, which made her story sound like Cassie's story in a way. But at the same time, I believe her because today the cross examination was going on. Like I said, the defense wasn't really tripping her up in anything. They were asking her a lot of tough questions, like, so you said that you like to have intercourse like this. Pretty much a lot of the questions the defense was asking was to like shame Jane Doe, but I guess that's their job. They got to make them feel bad because her story is making a lot of sense and it's proving a lot of things that have already been said. But I felt like when I heard some of her testimony, I felt like I can see her writing a book because not only has she been with Diddy, but allegedly this is Jane Doe. Jane Doe is 50 Cent baby mama, and she testified today that she likes powerful men. So like whatever book she writes, and she could call that bad boy Jane Doe. Okay, it's gonna be a hit. It's gonna be a bestseller. Like she could tell us some stories. How about tell us what you're doing in that room after you mess with the guy, and then you have to go in there with Diddy? What are you doing in that room? Because that's what I'm curious to know. Because I believe she's in there pegging him. And that's probably why she got to get so high. Because why would she have to be so high if he just want to see her play with men? Jane Doe testified, okay? She testified that Diddy would tell her to pour the baby oil, like drip the baby oil down the shaft, like drip it a little bit at a time, like not pour it, but just let it drip down the shaft. Then use your hands to rub up and down. So when you get real particular like that right there, yeah, that's definitely not voyeurism. Sounding like cuckold. Cuckold. And I didn't even know what cuckold was until today. That was my first time even hearing it. But that sounds more believable than, voyeurism. But I understand he wanted to make it look real good. Okay, talking about he has voyeurism. Nah, dude. And where the man at? So the government couldn't find no man that he been with to just clear that out the way. Like he wouldn't be in this trouble, y'all. This is what I'm trying to say. He wouldn't be in the trouble he's in if he would just dealt with the man personally. He wouldn't. None of this would happen. All he had to do was be his true self. And he didn't want to be his true self. But paying for these guys to be going from state to state, even out the country, paying for their hotel, paying for their air flights back and forth, paying for their food and everything, paying for the service that's illegal. It's all illegal. So it's definitely given. I don't see how he's going to win this case here. It's definitely given that. Okay. And then yesterday, I'm pretty sure y'all heard, but Diddy's team said that they wanted to have a mistrial. They was asking the judge for a mistrial. They were like, Your Honor, we feel like what's the girl name that testified? Was it me? Not Mia. Bongo, Brianna Bongolian. When she testified, she said that the incident with Diddy dangling her over the banister on the porch, she said that happened in September. So, Cassie said it happened around another time like October or November or something. So the defense was asking for them to have a mistrial because that incident didn't add up and it was incorrect, and they felt like she had purged herself and, got caught in a lie. But really, no, that's not going to stop the whole case just for that. But they tried. That's like the second time I believe they've tried to have like a mistrial. They've been saying it a lot. I believe they said it a couple of times, but they actually filed paperwork yesterday to have this trial dismissed because of Bongolian's statement. But the judge is not going forward with that. You can tell the judge is definitely standing his ground. He is not playing. Okay. I don't know what they thought was going to happen with this judge, but he is not with it. He's not with the mess. He said it and made it very clear that this trial would last 5 weeks. And he said that's it and that's all. And he said, y'all not going to be holding this court up. Now, today, the defense asked to end the court 2 hours earlier. So today or this week, they're supposed to be going until 5. So the defense asks for court to end at 3. So tomorrow, the court is starting late. It's not starting until 1. So I believe they're going until 5 tomorrow. So, I can already see the defense being a crybaby now. They missed out on 2 hours today, right? But I could still see them saying come Thursday, oh, we didn't get all the time we needed. We need to push this out. But last week, the judge made it very clear that Jane Doe's testimony needs to end, or will end Thursday, because they already have her flight booked, and they're not changing it. What happened was there was a witness, Deontay Nash, and he had a flight booked, and the defense had him on the stand so long he ended up missing his flight. And so they had to reschedule the flight for like the next day. And the judge was like, he's not missing that flight today. He's y'all gonna have him off of here by lunch. So, and they did. So he's definitely not playing, but I got a feeling that the defense is going to come with some mess by the end of this week and say that they didn't have enough time. But Jane Doe has a flight to catch Thursday. So Thursday is her last day on the stand. And it also looks like the judge does not want anybody coming back, because the defense has asked the judge if they can get Cassie to come back and answer some questions. And the judge is pretty much like, it's not necessary. We're not going to do that. The defense asked for the psychologist, the forensic psychologist lady to come back. What was her name? Deborah? Dawn. I think it was Dawn. Her name was Dawn. She did the testimony about a couple of weeks ago, talking about people who go through trauma from being in an abusive relationship, and also on rugs as well. The defense asked for her to come back, probably because she's already going to be paid by the government. They like, yeah, we're not going to pay her, but they want to make the government spend some money, because remember, her fee was $600 an hour. Okay, $600 an hour. So the judge said no. The judge said today that no, we're not bringing her back either. So yeah, they're going to do everything they can, which that's what Diddy is paying them for, right? So he might as well get his money worth, because I just don't see no rainbow at the end of this tunnel. It's a rainbow light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, that's how I go. For him. And then on top of that, he has the Tupac case. Okay, let's not forget about the Tupac case. Tupac family is allegedly suing P. Diddy. So, I haven't even heard the details on that, because it's been so much to go through with this Diddy trial. Like, this is a lot. I'm sorry. I don't mean to pick and make fun, but yeah. But yeah, this is it, and that's all. I do feel like the defense is going to act like crybabies, but whatever. The judge is not with the mess, and the judge is being very, extremely caring and passionate and allowing them to get away with some stuff, but not no big stuff. Like the judge has really been doing his thing. Okay, I would say that I really like this judge here. But anyway, that's all the Diddy news I have for you guys. This was from yesterday and today, so I'm caught up. Okay, so I will be back tomorrow with tomorrow's coverage as well. Like I said, it's not starting to 1, and it always, the latest it can end is 5. So I'll definitely keep y'all updated on that as well. But I'll be back with another one because I wanted to talk about Cardi B, Chris, your girl Cardi B, okay, out here doing her best one. All right, living her best one. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys for this Diddy trial update. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. And yeah, I'll be right back. Hit you with another one. Peace.